I think this project is has layers to it. Layers here is how we liberate ourselves, our body, our minds, and how we achieve the freedom in this time. So freedom is also economic freedom, economic
yes.
freedom,
Yes.
financial freedom. What kind of freedom do you
It's
see
like
here?
a freedom. For me, I believe like freedom to love whoever you want to love. Freedom to build together, like the freedom to own and till the land and grow the land. My freedom to practice my culture without prosecution. A freedom to create new culture if you need to, right? The freedom to expand. A lot of us are so expansive, but we don't have the freedom to expand.
Yeah.
We have to make ourselves small.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm going to back up a little bit here. So the reason I'm saying what triggered this conversation is actually, seeing, I've witnessed in many accounts, many times, the conversation between an African and African American, especially that video you shared with me.
Yes, yes.
So there is the African, one
when you
side,
say
and
that,
the African American on the other side.
is because this is all happening on Turtle Island in the United States, right? So let's bring context to this, because you could be watching this from anywhere in the world, but
Absolutely.
we're living in the United States, right? And so if you are an African immigrant,
Yes.
right? A recent immigrant who may be your parents or maybe even your grandparents, because that's even, like third generation immigrant. Let's just say you're just immigrant because you know where your parents have come from or your
Yes.
grandparents have come from. And the spectrum is really long, right?
Yes.
And then we've got the descendants of those who were enslaved and or the descendants of those Africans who had been living on this land for generations.
Yeah.
Hundreds of years.
Yes.
And those two groups, those two far ends, recent immigrant and, the African who has been living on this land for a long time, when you get those folks together and they are ignorant, it is the most painful conversation to ever witness.
It's true. It's really painful. I saw before even some of the videos you shared me. This was a Facebook conversation.
Yes.
A brother that I know, both African American. One is they're going on into each other. And I felt sad because I was witnessing two Africans. We did not know who they were.
No.
Because the Africans. We have to understand this. There is what we call slavery and what we call also colonizations. So the Europeans, when they came to the coast of Africa to get what was going to be the products, the label, bring them to the Americans for what we know the purpose, the plantations, and we build wealth, this generational wealth that has helped build Europe and build America.
From stolen land and stolen labor.
And eventually,
but anyway.
and then what happened, they did not stop there. They came back, after discovering the new lands and the potentials of the new lands, but they also realized actually there is a lot more potential in actually where we took these people, and that's Africa. So they came back to actually have ownership of the entire continent, and that's what we saw in the Berlin Conference in 1884 to 1885. So basically, all the Europeans, they gathered in Germany, in Berlin, to split Africa. So they really shared Africa like a piece of cake.
Without any African at the table.
Yeah, there was no African on the table. That's why we have what we have today. The borders we have in Africa as countries, they were not set by Africans.
No.
You have Senegal, you have Ivory Coast, you have
Nigeria,
Burkina Faso, and we found the same people of the same families split up. They found themselves belonging to different countries and not becoming the same people. We have you see in the Congo, we have the Punu people in the Congo, you have the Punu people in Gabon, you have the Congo people in what we are Democratic Republic of Congo.
Just
the
like
Republic
you have
of
Yoruba
Congo,
people
you
in
have
Ghana,
so,
in Nigeria, in
yeah,
Benin, and in Togo.
And same blood.
Across, yes.
Across. Family. And then
imagine
if you
how violent that must have been to no longer cross the border.
You can cross the borders, whether you cannot cross the border if you don't have a visa.
That's right.
If you don't have permission to cross the border,
imagine
you don't
that.
have it. And then you don't be the educational. Another the trick is the educational system. So once we got there, colonization means just your educational system, what you're studying in school that was established for you now. People found themselves knowing more about the history of Europe than the history of the oppressors than the history of themselves, of their own. And then once you don't know, then we end up with conversations of Africans blaming African Americans and African Americans blaming Africans.
I couldn't even speak my own language in school.
So
when I go to school and I speak my language, you get punished. You know, you nail down and they'll do the cane and the 5 on this hand, 5 on this hand, and they say no vernacular.
I know. We
you
had
have
the thing
to
we
speak
called
Queen's English.
When I was growing up, we had to speak French and we had to speak good French.
Yeah.
If you made a mistake in French, they're gonna come to you. No, in the Congo, they're going to bring like a little necklace. On the necklace was attached something was stinky. Like a dead animal or something that was really stinky.
The humiliation.
Yeah, they will put that around your neck and you're gonna walk around with it for the entire day because you didn't speak good French, or you didn't they found you not speaking French, or you made mistakes speaking French. And we found these generations of Africans too who could not speak the language.
So you can't speak French and you can't speak your language, so you're lost. Like so you really lost.
But we had those in
yes.
I think what saved maybe African languages also because Africa has thousands of languages.
Yes.
When you come to the Congo, there were so many languages. There was no way that the French who colonized the Congo could erase all those languages. But if they could, they would do it.
Right.
But there was no way they could erase. There were so many languages, so many cultures and subcultures and dialects, and it was not possible. I think that saved us. At least I saved those families who still spoke the language, or those who actually live in Africa were gifted enough to be curious and learn the language. Because we have Africans born and raised in Africa, in whatever country, who can speak the language.
No.
They speak either English or they speak only French.
In fact,
they don't speak their own language. And that's
Igbo
the reality.
people, my lineage, it is rare to find, people who are educated, who also speak the language, just because they feel like it's either or. And that by speaking your language, which is the way of the oppressor, that it means that the colonizers have done their work to convince you that you no longer need your language, that the colonizer's language is the best one that will get you the passport. And it does get you somewhere, but away from who you are.
Yeah, and there is a trick. Sometimes we speak the language, but we can't write that language.
No.
As easy or fluently as we write English. French.
No, because it's been drilled. I speak English every day. I write it every day.
That's the thing.
So
we don't write our languages.
No.
Yeah, you can ask somebody count from 0 to 10 in your language. They lost. They it's not. Sometimes we speak their language, but it's not the pure language. The language is mixed with some French,
with the colonized language.
Yeah. It's not taught in school.
Yeah.
How would you know about your own language?
It's wrong all the way
it's
around.
Not
Colonization, slavery, indentured servitude, all of that is all wrong.